In the dark corners of my room was a young lady crouched all day long, beaten and battered by the pressures of life. From her cheeks, tears flowed down endlessly, as though they were river of water in her tear glands. And when the tears ceased, her heart sobbed more. Tossed to and fro by the opinions of men, deafened to instinct, conscience, and truth, she gladly sucked up fat lies. In pretense, she waved off the unconcealable scars from her past hurts. Shame and guilt flooded her memory. Betrayed and ill-spoken of even by her closest pal, she let out deep springs from the pit she had been dug by life's uncertainties. Fears choked her to stupor. Her family cared less about the thundering silence that raged within her, but she had nowhere to run to. She had lost her voice and no one seemed to be aware of her existence anymore. Everyone was blinded to the pains and wounds she nursed in her heart. Her silence spoke volumes, but no human could understand the depth of her worries. She was tender at heart, but life had always enforced cruelty on her innocence. This was someone who was broken beyond repairs, I thought. I walked up to the lady one day and asked with all firmness in my tone, "Who are you?" She smirked at me pitifully and said, "Hi, ha, 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 ha." Confusion knocked at my door, my knees got knocked together, and no words were forthcoming. How could I, a fairy queen who could blast in tongues for hours with no slight pulse, be that brutalized? I mean, everyone knew me as a woman of God. My mush, they all cheered because at my approach, even the boisterous wind paid obeisance and ceased. But with all the titles accrued to me, my head was no longer fitting in my crown. Beyond the veil, I was shattered in countless pieces. I realized I was the sick who needed to be healed, the broken-hearted who needed to be comforted. Fear tabernacled with me. Afraid of communicating my fears and odds to people, I sighed in despair. I had gotten to a point where I no longer trusted anyone with my secrets. I thought people, even the genuine ones, would make me a laughingstock. I was drowning in silence. Who would come to my aid? I whispered beneath my breath, "Lord, help me. I am dying, I am drained and thirsty." I ached to hear the voice of the Father as a reassurance that he was still with me, but he chose to be silent. It seemed he had decided to lay his arms across his chest with a deep gaze at me. Oh, how my heart yearned to hear him speak, but his silence was getting a grip on me. I was becoming more broken by his seemingly unending silence. In the midst of my agony, I kept holding on to him as my life support. I was on the verge of committing suicide, but who was I to take a life I had no power to give? Truthfully, I only saw a weapon in everything around me then. A weapon to end it all and get free from life and its palaver. After all, there hardly was a meaning I could place my hands on as to why I was living. Yet I knew that was not going to be a journey into freedom, but a journey into eternal discomfort and affliction. There lied before me choices, each accompanied with its own consequence: life or death, prosperity or disaster. I didn't desire death and disaster, but life and prosperity were neither within the reach of the wretched being I was. It was a tussle to hold on to him, though for me, I had reached the point of no backdowns. If it was not going to save me from the misery that wove around me, I was ready to lay it all up. When I least expected, I felt a breath of his peace upon my troubled soul, like the sea waters that let a sudden loose of rush across a forgotten desert. I am with you. That was it. I didn't hear him in an audible voice, but he indeed spoke. His voice geared me back to life, and his word became my backbone. That was enough reason to render me joyful despite the fatal blows life dealt on me. Hey there, one. I know life is full of cries and crises, but do not permit deception to creep into your walls by masking your scars. Everyone else may be deceived, but God can't be. He knows the real you. Darling, let go of that fear. Look beyond your flaws, focus more on your identity in Christ than on your performance. We most times sink into the depths of depression because we feel we are not enough. We feel we are worth less than who God has made us. And the world weighs us down with its cares and pleasures and prescribes to us how to live a life whose source is not of this world. Frustration takes a foothold. Yes, Beyond the playful me was a person who went back to think of her imperfections. Well, everyone might have thought I was that girl, but right within me, I was battling with my emotions and fighting a legion of unseen forces. Do you feel downcast, dejected, and cheated? Do you see yourself below what God has called you? I'm not here to motivate you or manipulate your psyche. Maybe I can just do how to set aflame a consciousness in you of your actual identity. You are a city, no longer termed forsaken. You're not a curse, but an exceptional gift to the world at large. You can't be like everyone, definitely. You are all unique and loved. You have a future perfectly secured, a destiny that sets you apart for immense greatness. Your generation awaits to be drenched of the doses of potentials fashioned into your being. It's not really about the accolades accrued to you by men. It's about your acceptance before the one who gave you the breath of life. God is not blind to your tears, neither is he deaf to your yearnings. He's aware of that hurt and he knows you need healing. You are his masterpiece. Give him a chance, please. Give him the chance to furnish you with his goodness. Shake off your worries. Don't do without giving Satan a shittiest mark on his skull with a word as your weapon. And recline in the loving arms of your dad.